So as we get set to close the book on this one, thanks for hanging out with us. It is the Sports OG Mark Gray, OG Sports Rap. Don't forget, download the mobile app, Sports Rap Network. All right, find it. You can check out the entire cast Monday through Friday as we blend a little mix of hip hop and sports, pop culture, and real talk. Okay, and I think that one thing about the Olympics and these international competitions that the United States always finds itself in, these international diplomatic moments where, we used to feel good as regular old good old fashioned citizens of the USA that when our folks were out there repping for us, they were something that we could at least, even if we didn't support, we were proud of. We were proud of at least the way that folks carried themselves. But decorum is no more. I mean, you can't get it enough. Um, you got a president that slurs people of other nations, and you've got dignitaries that back him up. And now this indignity of America now gets to continue to be exposed in the realm of the Olympic movement. And that's what brings me to LA 28, where we know that in 2 years, the city of Los Angeles, if it's still standing, um, will host the world for the Summer Olympics. And what should be a great celebration already has a shade, a shroud of shade placed over it. And in case you missed it, coming on the heels of 47 calling the Olympic skier Corey Hess or Hunter Hess, pardon me, a straight up loser for saying that just because he wears a uniform doesn't mean he's down with what's going on in America today. I mean, to me, that was a wonderful thing to say in a moment where you're caught off guard and you find yourself having to defend things that you just don't believe in yourself. And for it to get to a point where the president and a former Olympian tell him he shouldn't have tried out for the team, or, uh, if you don't want to wear the uniform, then keep your mouth shut. And stuff like that. Just this old man. But what we got to come to grips with, if we're ever going to get over where we are right now in this almost barbaric and humiliating time, is that you're not the best in the world all the time anymore. That is past us. And I bring that up in the context of the Olympics because Casey Wasserman, the uh, president, the person who basically is in charge with setting up the infrastructure, he's the architect of the Los Angeles Olympic Games. But it seems like, 20, 25 years ago, there was no way that you couldn't be around in some form or fashion of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And so the chairman of the LA 28 Olympic Organizing Committee has been facing some heat, quite frankly, after the release of a batch of Department of Justice files that are related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And this has come out recently. Now, again, I'm not going to say I don't know if Wasserman was just I mean, let's be real for a second. We've all done things in our younger days that we look back on and we say, "Woo." You have some flirtatious conversations, as he would like to say, and the unsealed documents did reveal flirtatious email exchanges between Wasserman and Maxwell all the way back in 2003. Just think about that for a second. Now, first off, I don't understand what the attraction to Maxwell was. Now, maybe I caught her 20 years after she may have been a hot babe. But the pictures I've seen lead me to believe like that's, you know, uh, the proverbial slump buster, shall we call it. Everybody's had one, and she looks like she must have been to multiple dudes. But that being said, it stands now. It's out in the public that not only was the guy hooking up with a, let's be real for a second, pedophiles madam or pimp, if you will. All right, we've seen her. She's not here to defend herself, but the preponderance of evidence about what she was doing as a sexual broker for immature old dudes. And then I guess it got to a point where, Wasserman decided he needed to get something on the side, and he asked Maxwell what he needed to do to see her in a quote tight leather outfit. Yes, I'm telling you, I did some research to this. I'm not making this up. He said he thinks of you. He was basically telling her, I'm fantasizing about you. This guy was fantasizing about a woman who was peddling children, which is crazy on a variety of different levels. Now, there were emails that have been brought out to light offering that Wasserman was offered a uh, massage that could, quote, drive a man wild, end quote. And then there was discussions about him, quote, floating naked down the beach. I mean, again, we had text, we had emails. My thing is, why didn't you scrub the emails? Were y'all so far out there at the time? What was going on? And Wasserman did admit to traveling on Epstein's private jet in 2002 as part of a delegation with the Clinton Foundation. But again, everybody always says this. They've only met Jeffrey Epstein one time. What was he like? Did he? I mean, was once enough? And speaking of that, what was Maxwell's role in all this? To me, at some level, and the city of Los Angeles has taken massive um, abuse from fires, incompetence in government, things like that. This definitely has carried a shadow over the Olympics coming back to the United States. It really has. And I get it. I mean, if I'm on the LA City Council or one of the county supervisors, such as Janice Hahn, I'm pretty much asking for his resignation also. And she makes a good point. It's a distraction that undermines the values of the Olympic Games. Now, again, we can't be but so sanctimonious about the Olympic Games themselves. Corruption in the Olympics is not a new thing. I was down there for the coverage of the 96 Olympics. I remember, long before the movie with Richard Jewell, there were massive scandals about how International Olympic Committee uh, members and their family members were brokering deals. Hey, we'll vote for you when it comes time to vote for Atlanta, because remember, Atlanta was up against Athens. Athens wanted to host the 100th anniversary of the Olympic Games because that's where the games began. But Atlanta outbid them under the table. I mean, there were reports of scholarships, free scholarships given to Georgia Tech. Nobody wants to talk about that. There was a whole lot of backdoor dealings with the fine schools down there. Emory University, I think, was given some, perks. The worldwide headquarters of Coca-Cola is in that city, so they were complicit, and that's why there was such an international uproar when Atlanta got the games. Now LA has the games, And I can't understand. And I know it's during the Olympics. And during the Olympics, everybody wants to be kumbaya from around the world. But I'm just saying, how bad a look is this for the nation right now? There's no getting around this. We all know that there's some malfeasance and corruption that has been going on with this Olympic movement. And now to see that the organizer has a relationship with one of the most venomous pedophiles and dysfunctional human beings that this planet has ever known, ever known. Okay. Uh, I don't see how it's in the best interest of LA 28 to pull the plug on this guy or to reduce his title and keep him out of the international headlines. Because what's going to happen is when the world's press comes to Atlanta and, Los Angeles, they will be grilled heavily. Okay. Everything will be on the chopping block. And it will be interesting to see how NBC is able to spin this so that the country doesn't look bad. But if you've got a guy who's got the remote relationship with a guy as sinister as Epstein and a woman who's as heinous as Maxwell, come on, man. Oh, you just had flirtatious conversations with her. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. I can't give you the benefit of the doubt because was she ever that attractive? Wow. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, you don't want to disrespect anybody who's passed away, but that woman has the face that would turn Medusa to stone. I mean, let's be real for a second. And then she's going out selling kids. No, anybody was associated with her should not be within 100 meters, just to use as an event, of the games. Seriously. Again, you can't go around as an IOC feeling as though you're the biggest badasses in all the sports around the world because you govern the Olympics. And then one of your host cities is being led by a committee who endorses him after he's had some sort of a relationship with heinous people associated with pedophilia. That's just not a good international look, especially in times like this. You got the international perception of the president as a tyrannical leader, right? And some could argue with that assessment. Others can agree. I see both sides. Okay, leaning one way, but that has nothing to do with this. The issue is when you bring the world to your house, it should at least be clean. And there's nothing clean by LA 28 right now, especially as long as CORY Wasserman is allowed to make the decisions. I mean, you could find somebody to take his infrastructure and run it and then just, send him along his way. And I understand, trust me, I understand that would be disrespectful. His feelings would be hurt. He'd be able to feel like, I put all this work in. Well, we'll give you some free tickets, maybe even a comp pass. Just get lost. Because the questions are just starting now. And it won't be the American press who's right now being attacked. It won't be the American Express press who assaults this guy. It's going to be the international folks. And guess what? You can be a good old fashioned journalist everywhere else but in the United States. So the world's watching LA 28. You might want to cut your losses before you don't get the economic windfall that you're hoping to get from the games afterwards, because people won't come. It's your boy, Professor G. Mark Gray. It's OG Sports Rap on the network. Don't forget to download the mobile app. And as always, we got.